obviously. The UAW strike is one of many that we've seen across the country. What do you think as a business owner watching it all play out?
Well, as an American, it's a very bad move for the president. The president's the president.
To go to the picket line?
Yes. The president's the president for all of us. And this is a capitalistic democracy, and the pillars of our democracy rest on capitalism. And therefore, he has to be supportive of all of us. And what he should do is, like every other president does, is relies upon the private sector, the business, and the workers to work together to come up with a common sense solution. He panicked, and his people around him panicked because Donald Trump is coming there tomorrow. And so what he did is he broke presidential protocol, and he is showing up there to walk the picket lines. It's not presidential. It's not what leaders do. And it's a mistake. And I think at best, it's pandering, and most likely it's desperation, because I think his numbers are plummeting.
What does it tell you, though, that President Trump was on his way out there, Michigan being a key swing state, and the UAW not having endorsed Biden, and so, some of its members obviously had been voters for Trump, but they're not. It's not monolithic. Is it unseemly for the former president to show up out there as well?
Well, he's not going to the picket line, frankly. He actually, look, I'm a Democrat and generally support Democrats for president. He made a smart strategic decision. He's speaking in Michigan, in Detroit, but not at a picket line. He's speaking at a supplier facility, and that's different. And the UAW wanted to endorse Bernie Sanders anyway last time around. Michigan took Trump to the promised land when he won the presidency, and he's looking for that again. Biden's concerned, and so he's going there now to try to fight that off. And in the end of the day, Trump's appealing more towards the workers. Biden's trying to appeal towards the UAW to endorse him, not flirt with Bernie Sanders. But the challenge he's got is that many Democratic donors are very concerned and looking for somebody else. Many, Democratic power brokers and Democratic politicians want an alternative. And Biden's trying to reassure people, if this goes wrong for him, it digs his hole deeper.
That is the voice of Don Peebles. He was on, of course, one of my favorite programs, my favorite channel, CNBC, today, talking with Becky about this UAW strike. Y'all know Don Peebles. He has been on the Karen Hunter Show. We did a town hall with him in our Road to Freedom. And, somebody tagged me in on this particular video, which is not one that they are promoting on CNBC's website or on their Twitter page. And I find it interesting, though. He said a couple of things in this, Don Peebles did. And welcome back, by the way, to the Karen Hunter Show, Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126. We're talking powers and becomes action, in case you're just tuning in. We're talking about the UAW strike. Today, the president of the United States made an unprecedented visit to the picket line in Michigan, went there. Don Peebles said it was a mistake. He said it was a very bad move. He said, generally, I support the Democrat. Generally. And then when Becky asked him about, well, Trump is going to be there tomorrow. Well, he's going to be in Michigan and it's more strategic. I was like, Don Peebles, but you told on yourself when you said that President Biden is the president of all people, and you then brought in capitalists and capitalism as if trickle down ever worked for us. It didn't. And now it works for you. You're a billionaire. You're a billionaire. What percentage of Americans are billionaires? Does the UAW represent more Americans, or do the billionaire class, the capitalists like you, represent more Americans? If I'm Biden, I'm going to stand with the people, period, because the UAW to me represents, even though I'm not union and I'm not, I didn't come from a union family or whatever, and I don't even maybe consider myself blue collar. I'm definitely not a blue collar worker. I relate to the struggle because that's the backbone of the country. The country runs because of people like the folk in the UAW. That's how we get here. The truck drivers, the bus drivers, the longshoremen, the UPS workers, the UAW. These are the people that make the things that we need to make the things that we need, right? So I don't think as the president of the United States is a bad move to go and say, I support you. And when he was asked, President Biden, do they deserve a 40% raise? He said yes. And his reasoning was the CEOs have gotten 40% raises over the last several years. The CEOs have gotten their raises and the workers have not. It's just fair. And I think, yes, part of it is pandering, is what politicians do. for the most part. And President Biden is a career politician, a corporate politician, if we want to even go that further. But listen, I don't care if you pander, as long as you deliver. Pander to me and then pay me. Pander and pay me. I'm okay with you. I'd rather you pander than ignore. Wouldn't you? Who disagrees? 866-801-8255. Who agrees with Don Peebles that this was a mistake on the part of President Biden to go and support of the UAW? Of course he wants their endorsement. Why wouldn't he? It's a powerful union. How many people believe that the UAW shouldn't be striking? Maybe you are on the side of like, this is not the right time or the right place, or they shouldn't do it. I think it's a good thing. And I think it's healthy for this country to have pressure on, to me, a class of people who are out of control and greedy. The capitalism is fine because it's all about who it's in the hands of, like communism, the purest form of communism, where or socialism, where everyone gets a chicken in every pot. People don't go without housing, without food. In a society like that, it would be good, but there's always going to be corruption because people are going to people. People are going to people. So in a case where people are peopling, you don't want capitalism or communism or socialism, because there's always going to be some corruption and some sort of ridiculousness happening. But we have to hold people accountable. That's our responsibility as voters, as citizens of this country or any country. You hold the people accountable. And I don't think we've done a good job of that either. We've allowed for the noise to stun us into apathy, and apathy cannot be the move forward. So I'm going to roundly say, I think the president should have gone, especially if Trump was going to go there. You need Michigan. And Michigan right now has a great, decent governor. I don't know. I don't live there, but I hear good things about Gretchen Whitmer. I know she stood her ground during the pandemic and came out, even though she was on the ropes. So she's a fighter. They tried to kill that lady for telling people to wear a mask for their own protection. It was crazy. It was craziness, really promoted by Trump, who did have Michigan. He did rode a wave into office and beat the Electoral College with Michigan in tow. But now it's a new day. So I'm curious, Don Peebles, you're showing yourself, but I think, people get comfortable on CNBC because you're like, oh, these are my people. But there's a broad swath of Americans. And let me just be very clear. I am totally in alignment with the understanding that people need to make money. Like I get it. I'm not fundamentally, I guess maybe I am a socialist. Maybe I am. I think everyone should be able to eat and have a roof over their heads. I don't know. Does that make me a socialist? I think there's enough to go around. I feel like there's enough to go around, Down Peoples. It's okay. They can give up the 40%. They have record profits. They're sitting on $8 billion. They can break off a little something for these people and not lose anything. Oh, the shareholders. Are you a shareholder? I needed to know that. That question needed to be asked. Don Peebles, are you a shareholder? And listen, I have much respect for what the man has built. I read his book. I invited him to come on the show because I want to give people the possibilities, that all things are possible. At the same time, who do you work for? Where's your allegiance? And I think we should be asking that question of folk like R. Donahue Peebles when you go on a program like that and besmirch the president of the United States for going out and standing with the people, even if he's pandering. You're pandering in the right direction. They're all pandering. Trump is pandering. He has nothing in common with the people in Michigan, period. His soft, baby, tiny hands have never seen a day's work with a widget ever, period. He could care less about working people. He's gone bankrupt 6 times. I don't know how you align yourself with somebody who won't pay his bills. It's ridiculous.
I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one who loves things is the one